venue called Eaton Centuries, and a lot of people are lined up already. The door has not opened yet, and I've been told that this year nearly 900 people are coming to participate, a big increase from 500 last year. And within this large room, the vendors are preparing their booths, showing off their own creation. BLush has a theme each year, and this year is camping, I heard, and this is the installation within the venue about the camping, the tents, and fireworks ready. Within the and some lights and drinks and small barbecue. This is the schedule for BLush. There are several events happening on the stage, and I am actually going to moderate the session in which BL manga artist Scarlett Relico Sensei will appear via Zoom and meet with Filipino fans starting at 2 p.m. Hi, welcome to BL with Akiko channel. Obviously, this is a special edition. I'm in
Maybe you should sit there.
No. Okay. I'm in Manila. I attended BLush BLush convention for the first time and really had fun. So I thought I took a little bit of video from the venue too, but I asked the organizers to speak to to people for this channel, BL with Akiko channel. So first of all, I'd like three organizers to introduce themselves. Like, tell us your names.
So I'll start. So I'm Christine Santos. Most people online know me by my nickname Kirsten.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, as a BL fan, that's pretty much how I'm known online as well.
Mm-hmm.
As how we started BLush. Sorry, just
yeah.
introduction first. So I'm Kirsten, and I also teach at a university in Ateneo de Manila University.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, first of all, I apologize. I lost my voice. My name is Rochelle. My day job is I organize events. My hobby is I organize events. And I'm one of the founders and organizers of BLush Convention.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I am Israel Rialine. People call me Rael most of the time, but they also call me Hamster. My close friend calls me Hamster. I'm one of the organizers as well of BLush, and my day job actually is a business analyst for a financial institution, and I also handle clients as a business analyst from all over the world. So, been with BLush since the beginning, and that's about it.
So I've kind of heard about BLush for the past, definitely since before COVID, but I was thinking maybe like this is going on for 7-8 years now, but it's been going on longer. So Kirsten, can you tell us when and how you started?
We started, in fact, when we were still college students, and we worked or we volunteered for a number of anime conventions, which was just starting around that time. I think it was around 2003, etc. And we found out that we've been navigating different groups, mailing groups or mailing lists related to BL. And when we found out that, oh, you're this person online or you're that person online, hey, let's organize something where BL fans can come together, because it was fantastic that we finally met each other from an online space to an offline space, and then from there, as early as 2003, we've been holding it in and out for the next few years, but it was in 2011 that we decided, 12, that we decided to rebrand it as Blush, because at the time we were becoming aware of the growth of BL, and we want people to recognize this developments in BL culture, BL media, and so as I mentioned in a different conversation, in the Philippines, Japanese media featuring male romances are often associated with the term yaoi, and it's very sexual in nature and its perception. But with the term BL, they're immediately accepting it, and increasingly after the pandemic, they acknowledge that it's a much broader definition, much I guess more inclusive in terms of different representations of male romances, and it's been great for us. I think that's a good development in the past 10, 12,
So
13
since
years.
2012, it's been an annual event.
Oh no, it used to be biannual, every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yes, but after we took a pause in 2016, a lot of fans were saying, "Oh, we miss you guys. You should come back." So when we restarted in 2018, it was supposed to be an annual event. Unfortunately, our 2021 and all the way to 2022 series was hit by the big C. So we weren't able to organize in-person events during that time.
Yes.
But thankfully, over the past 5 years, it's like mostly annual.
So as an in-person event, this year, 2024, did you have the in-person event last year?
Yes.
2022,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, that was our first in-person event since COVID.
Since COVID, after 2020.
Yes.
Yeah. And I attended the event yesterday, and there were a lot of people, and there were booths. The fans were selling not so many of them comic books, doujinshi, but more like postcards and posters and stickers, tote bags, and even like crochet caps and stuff like that. But also I noticed that the presence of male-looking people who, many of them gender kind of unconforming, and many of them not necessarily gender unconforming, but looking very soft, and I'm thinking probably they're gay men and blah. So who are your demographic?
That's actually a great question. Really? What have you noticed from our?
There's a lot more male attendees than from the previous year. Honestly speaking, when we started Blush, we were expecting a lot of women, girls, or of age, of course, to attend, to be at Blush. But I think starting last year, we have a lot more male attendees. More so this year, yesterday, when I was walking around the convention center, the event center, there were a lot more of them as compared to our really previous ones.
I heard Kristen talking about Blush as being a safe space.
Yes.
At one of the more academic occasions that we encountered, and I really felt that. So how did you? Was it like that from the beginning, or did you do anything special to like cultivate this? I'm saying this because over 10 years ago, I attended YaoiCon on the West Coast in the United States, maybe twice, and they had this vocal message, very clear message, like zero tolerance for any phobia. or any discrimination. And I really like that. And I was wondering if you've done anything like that.
On our end, the development of the safe space was organic in a sense wherein if you're a BL fan and you are aware that this is a BL fan, a BL event, where you're more than welcome to participate in Blush. And in fact, we try to be also as inclusive as possible, wherein, as long as you're interested in BL, I mean, this is a controversial take, but we have seen, parents and younger children. So we allow attendees as young as 13 to attend Blush, because there are aspects of Blush that is for adults only, right? But we also recognize that for young people, young queer people, young
We're still exploring
their sexuality, their gender, they're finding ways to kind of articulate who they are, or maybe articulate what they're consuming. Blush is that kind of, at least it's a safe space for them. And of course, part of it involves the rules that we also set in Blush, which it's something that we developed over the years, meaning we realized there's some people who would come forward saying we don't feel comfortable being photographed because, we don't know
we haven't come out
they
to
haven't
our
come.
family and friends, so we want to explore our sexuality on our own terms. So we want to come here as individuals, but we want to be reassured that we will not be outed beyond our control.
Yeah, so that's why we have now permissions in terms of asking photos, if it's okay to be there, is it okay to be associated. And we've also spoken to people that if you are sharing on social media, make sure that if you're sharing something, you've asked the person's permission to, whether it's in video or on at least a photo, right? And this is why we also restricted live streaming.
Yes.
Because last year, the growth of VTubers
and live streaming has a sort of like it's not a threat, but it's a concern. So we have to articulate this directly that, okay, we're so sorry. It might be infringing on your personal rights, but we cannot allow live streaming. Like, we are sort of in this mentality that, one person's rights ends where another person's begins. So we kind of like have to
And this is
convey
also
this.
another reason why we actually don't allow media outlets
To cover
to cover Blush.
Yes,
Where
we've had requests from even national media and magazines and newspapers. They want to cover our event, but we've had to respectfully decline because we don't want the risk of ruining people's lives just because they were on media in a BL centric event, and it's
I mean, to a certain extent, for many Filipinos, that makes them feel safe, especially with, much like us, the convention has grown up. We started as students. Some of them are now professionals, and there are conservative companies who
employers
who
or even schools
who may not feel comfortable that their
students or employees
are part of something that is non-conforming,
Right.
and more so gender progressive in terms of its content, and hence we've really turned away. But we've welcomed, for example, academics, researchers. There's now, yesterday there were a couple of young budding researchers from other universities who coming here. I'm starting to understand the space better. I'm starting to also realize that we can consume boys' love in a healthy, safe, and inclusive manner.
Well, thank you for letting me cover the event. But I'm sure because I'm the BL lover too, so I know how to be respectful for the attendees' privacy, and so I completely agree. It's a good decision to turn down the general
Media
general or
media.
mainstream coverage.
Because they would say that they understand, blah, blah, but they don't really.
It's all in the editing.
So it's Okay, so this event, yeah, you have them. What's the word for the people who are selling their
Merchants.
There are merchants.
merchants, or even though they are basically usually independent artists who are selling their artworks, and a couple of really business people who are selling their
Yes.
merchandise. And you have a stage on one side
Yes.
where you have the interview sessions of the local artists. Or yesterday, I had a session interviewing or introducing meeting Japanese mangaka Scarlett Beriko sensei,
Yes.
and for her to meet Filipino fans, and Australian scholar Thomas Baudinet talking about his research on K-pop from the BL's perspective. And Kirsten, you were talking about, what was the title of your talk?
Oh, well, I was talking about because fans were interested in terms of Fujoshi bait. So they were thinking about Fujoshi suri in
Bait, yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
And I said, well, let's not think about it as Fujoshi bait, but rather a broader aspect of BL, meaning we have artists from the amateur community using BL as an avenue to subvert, transform mainstream media. And now it's a very interesting relationship that you have mainstream media embracing these boys' love practices as well, boys' love literacies in commercial media. So I talk about it within the context of some unconscious and conscious ways that some media outlets like Shonen Jump, for example, looked at it in their relationship with women's doujinshi culture, and I also looked at it within a broader context of Philippine and global BL culture, wherein you have Filipino fans engaging with various forms of global media and kind of using that because of their association with queer media. They're now using that as an avenue to also express and explore Philippine queerness and Philippine queer expression. And so it's been very empowering for them. So even if they're using K-pop stars, anime characters, when you start putting these characters in the Philippines, of course, technically in canon they're not, right? But by virtue of bringing them here, they're now, their presence, at least in the imagination of these fans, brings queerness closer to the Philippines, because we're a highly conservative Catholic society, and hence there's a strong notion of heteronormative relationships and heteronormative gender expression. And when we consume public media, it's usually the gender non-conforming artists are very rare, you know, and it's only like since the pandemic that we started to have shows featuring drag artists, drag queens, some drag kings. We also have in Philippines' long media history, there's always been a presentation of the bakla. We call it bakla here, but I think the equivalent of it in Japan would be the one. And so with these bakla performers, they're always seen within the context of comedy, satire, and you know, you have this community of queer people. We want different forms of queerness to be seen in media, and thankfully in the last 2 years it has grown. And I think to a certain extent, especially with the growth of Thai BL here, Korean BL here, and all of them being accessible to Filipinos, you now have this generation of young men who attended BLush and are just seeking for this kind of queer expression and representation. And so one of our artists yesterday, Karvik, was particular about that. You know, he was gay, he discovered Thai BL and was like, oh, so that is possible. So it's, I can also enjoy BL in this manner. And in fact, there's this interview during the pandemic of some queer scholars here in the Philippines who are also studying about BL culture, and one of the respondents who is a gay writer, and he wrote on a platform called Wattpad, which is I guess
It's like a shousetsu ni naru.
yes,
What?
It's like
Shousetsu
shousetsu ni naru in
Shousetsu
Japan,
ni naru.
where people would write their own fiction.
Yeah, and the thing here is that he was basically saying, for once with BL, we're not seeing gay characters die in the end. They can have happy endings, and they deserve happy endings. And I think that's powerful, and I think that's why people are enjoying BL, because they're seeing the potential of happiness within queer identities, and I think that's why they're there, and I think they enjoyed it.
That resonates with what philosopher and academic Masaya Chiba talked about when I interviewed him for my 2017 book.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. These conversations are resonating with each other, and the live action BL dramas and films have recently been a strong booster.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because I think-
particularly in the Philippines. The Thai drama Together and also the Japanese drama Cherry Maho, they've become
because-
literal phenomenons in the Philippines. Like,
Wow.
even people who've never watched a BL series in their entire life, at least one of them have watched either Together or Cherry Magic.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think what's great about this is, on one end, we started as BL manga consumers, so we know these kinds of narratives exist, right? But I think for some of them, seeing this physicality on screen that makes it more real and less fictional.
Yes.
And I think that empowers them. And I think it also became a gateway later on to other fiction. So from those Thai BLs, like, where else can I read? And they
What
would go
else
to
can I watch?
bookstores and
They find blush.
They
and
find
meet
blush,
people,
yeah.
veterans,
Yeah.
the way.
yeah,
Yes.
and so that's what happened. In fact, last year there was an attendee who said, it's great that you're featuring all of these digital platforms. So last time we had collaborations with Futekia or Manga Planet, and they would speak, and Kuma Publishing from the United States, that to showcase that these titles are available here. You could read it in English, and before that, because it was so hard to get those digital editions, we would tell them, actually, if you have a Honto account, if your browser just has a translation, you can go to Honto, you can go to ebook Japan, Renta, and so on, and all of these places. So even if they're unable to understand it, because they're using
translation services now that you can access for free.
Yeah, and they would use Google Lens.
Google Lens.
I'm guilty of that.
Yes.
Using Google Lens, Google
read
On
the
Korean and Chinese now novels in particular, because we don't speak those
I don't
languages.
speak those languages, but I wanted to read them, so I find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Blush happened this year on June 8th, Saturday, and are you gonna you're gonna hold Blush next year too, around the same
We
time?
We're hoping.
We hope.
We hope. Yeah.
You hope.
Yeah. We always feel positive that we will, but usually we'll think about it first in terms of like logistics.
Because the event is purely volunteer run. Like
It's
all the-
amazing that
all
it's
the
been going
staff-
on for so long.
yeah, it's entirely volunteer run. Everyone from the programs to the activities to the merchants, ticketing, backstage, we're all volunteers. Like probably only the people who aren't volunteers are our contractors, the one who bring in our lights and sounds, and also the facilities for our merchants. But that's it. Everyone else is a volunteer.
Yeah.
So it's always up in the air because
So
we
when about what time or around which month of the year do you start
Usually we
planning the next
decide.
year?
Yeah, we take advantage of June around. We usually hold it around June. For a while, we entertained August. We were
We
thinking,
tried
maybe
to do 801,
we
but
wanted to do Yaoi no Hi,
So,
but we found it difficult to invite guests,
Mm.
and we take advantage of people's summer breaks.
Yes.
So here in the Philippines, our students usually would have vacation,
Summer vacation
summer
in June.
vacation
in June.
around June. So that's why.
And speaking of vacation, we also use the year-end vacation to start planning. So usually we decide if we're doing blush around December.
Around
Yeah,
December.
Yes, and then it starts very quickly from there. Like
Yeah,
we do
January.
announcement by January,
Uh-huh.
ticket sales by February,
Uh-huh.
and then one peculiar thing with blush that I think most of people have pointed out is that we're probably the only con in the Philippines that has a registration cap. Like we never exceed X number of attendees. So even if people are at the gates begging for us to sell them tickets, we have to turn them away because we want to make sure that our space is not just safe but also comfortable for all of our attendees. Like we don't want to exceed the reg cap. We don't want our merchants to be packed like sardines inside a small venue because we have to admit our venue is quite small compared to other events. So we want to make the experience, pleasurable, not just an okay event. We want to be a great event, so we try to strive to do that every year. I mean, it's not perfect every year,
Yeah.
but we do our best.
And it's not. It's
So-
there are events to think. Oh, but how do you make a profit? That's
We
the
don't.
last thing.
Yeah.
We don't
Yes.
even think about profits.
Profit is
Our-
the last thing.
The first thing we really think of is the safety of everyone and that everyone
Has a good time.
So for those global people who are really
Yeah.
interested in attending the class, you have to keep an eye on their website
Website,
in
Twitter,
January
yeah.
and February to
Yes.
pre-register for the
Yes.
tickets. You
Yeah.
can't just start looking at it at the end of May and
Yeah,
try to
probably
come. That
it's
will be
too
just
late to
too
come
late.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So any final or message to the viewers for the video?
In behalf of
Well,
Okay. I guess since your wonderful throat is, but I guess on behalf of us from Blush, we take pride in being one of few events here in the Philippines that's dedicated to boys love. And if you want to celebrate boys love with us here in the Philippines, meet other artists, BL artists here, enjoy the different fandoms and the ships that are related to BL culture, you are more than welcome to visit us, and hopefully you can enjoy it along with us in the coming year. Hoping. Yeah, we'll see. We'll let you know. Follow us at BlushCon at BLushCon
.org.
yeah, we'll put that info. In
Yeah.
the,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sensei.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.